Hello, Frenzynauts, and welcome to episode 51 of Toy Frenzy.
51.
I know, I'm going to say it. Oz. I can't believe it. We made it this far. 51 episodes. So tonight's a real special night. As you can tell, folks, Adam and Shawn can't be here tonight, and neither can Bobby. But we do have a co-host joining us, Mark Begley, who co-hosts Cambridge and with Shawn with me. See him right down here. And he also has his other podcast is Wake Up Heavy, which, by the way, folks, you should listen to Wake Up Heavy. It is the motto. His daughter says it on the show, and it's true. It's the best horror movie podcast out there. And I'm not saying that because I'm biased, because Mark's a buddy of mine for years, but it is really good.
She only says it because I paid her $20. So
there you go.
Sometimes you just got to buy them off.
That's right. That's right.
Who's going to prove me wrong?
Right.
That's right. That's right. And then we have our very special guest, DUSTINCROPSBOY, otherwise known as his real name, Dallas Pogue, otherwise known as SugarFrosted, as our guest tonight. So thanks for being here.
Sure, no problem.
We got a lot of questions for you. So Oz, shall we check out who's in the chat?
Of course, always. All right. So hanging out in the chat tonight, we have WJO. Where is the Sugar Frosted Alchemist DCB? I'm too early. Darn. Love it. Watch out for this shady Sith Lord of Destruction hanging out in the chat. Gotta be careful with that guy. And our good friend Pop Actor saying today's secret word is frenzy. Now you all know what to do when anyone says the secret word, right? Scream real loud. Ah!
Oh man, I got to take a moment and just say, Pee-wee passing, Paul Rubens passing this week. I took it pretty hard. That kind of stunk. Pee-wee's Big Adventure is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I agree. Yeah, I've always loved Pee-wee's work since I was a little kid, and you know, seeing Paul Rubens and other stuff at first was very mind blowing. Like catching him in Batman Returns, you know, as Penguin's dad, and then seeing him in Buffy, and it's like that's Pee-wee.
Yeah.
And, you know, so world just seems a little darker without him this week. But that's why we're shining it bright here on Toy Frenzy tonight, because we're bringing that huge nostalgia factor tonight from all of our childhoods.
Yeah.
And honestly, if this wasn't a part of your childhood, you're probably too young to really be watching our show. You have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're going to go deep.
Oh, yeah. And we have Speaking Moistly in the chat, as I just made everybody feel extremely uncomfortable out there for saying
every time we say his name.
El Tenda's channel is here tonight. El Tenda, good to have you, brother. The man, the myth, the legend himself, my buddy's Customs, saying hello, everyone, and how are you all? He's been up for over 24 hours. Oh, excellent. Well, there you go. Hopefully you don't pass out during the middle of the show tonight.
Yeah.
Damon joining us as well. Name twin Ronald Embry here hanging out with us, and we have Ray Black as well, and Nolan is joined. Thanos Copter. We have the absolute Mr. Wonderful joining us this evening, Travis. Guys, the Hexastack Kickstarter is still up and running. Travis has been revealing all kinds of new stuff added to that. There's textured tiles now, bigger storage space. Definitely go check out the Kickstarter and back this project. We need some Hexastack, folks.
Yep.
All right. And just trying to scroll down here. Whoop, we got Master Versal Toy Hunter in the house. As soon as I can highlight his name. Eldor.
Hey, Eldor.
Wait a minute. I missed him again. I'm scrolling too fast. There we go. Got him here. And if you guys missed it, Eldor was on our good friend Aaron's Toy Therapy on Friday night. Got to go check that out. It was a great look into the creative mind behind Eldor. And I think we're about just caught up with everybody here. Oh, wait. Our good buddy, Mortarheads.
How's it going, Mark?
Is in the house with us. We were just saying we need to have you on the show again soon for an update. Big Sis K-Roll joining us as well. What is going on? And actually, that gets us all caught up. Everybody else I see in the chat is just the usual cast and crew now.
So this being our first episode after our 50th episode / 1 year anniversary episode.
That was a lot of fun.
That was so much fun. And for those of you that won prizes during that episode, your prizes are on their way. So we're pretty good about this. We'll send you tracking numbers and stuff for your prizes once they are in the mail. So if you're worried about that, don't be worried. We come through.
Exactly.
Hey, Skyfall.
Skyfall's with us here. Oh, and a big shout out from Damon to Mark, just mentioning the fact that the TMNT Metaluna Mutant mask is epic, and I have got to agree. It's got that thing all painted now on the page, and the colors just scream 90s TMNT.
So we had, for those of you who haven't watched the episode with Mark, Mortarhead's Mark, go back and watch it. But Mark Begley, that's with us tonight, he just reminded me, because Mark Begley, and when I was right around the time where we recorded our episode about the McDonaldland, my McDonaldland obsession with those characters, he was telling me about DUSTINCROPSBOY's YouTube channel, and we were, each individually like shopping for McDonald's stuff on eBay. Well, window shopping, more like it. Although I got a few of those figures, but he reminded me tonight that Mark Enright, Mortarheads, mentioned DUSTINCROPSBOY during that episode. And so thanks to both Marks for, bringing us to the world of Dallas Pogue. So, man, honestly, I can't imagine a life without Dallas's work now that I know about it. So I'm happy that you, Marks, brought him to my consciousness. So, so do we have I'm already going on like a fool behind the pulpit talking about this stuff. So we'll hold off on that. But do we have an intro from Bud this week, Oz?
We definitely do. Also, I did just drop the link to that particular episode of Toy Frenzy in the chat for everybody, so you can go check it out if you hadn't seen that episode with us before.
Yeah, go check out Motorhead's Etsy shop and his YouTube channel, because the stuff he's doing over there is phenomenal. Action figure accurate rubber masks. You couldn't ask for anything more spectacular than that. It's really cool stuff.
I agree. I absolutely agree. Okay, so now pulling back up Bud's intro here, we definitely got one for us this evening. Got to clear out the pipes a little here.
Poor Oz. This is a real undertaking. If anybody's watching this for the first time, you should know, like, Oz has to go. He has his honey tea at the beginning. He does an hour of meditation just to prepare for this intro.
The intro. The intro. That's it. Yeah. Welcome, Frenzynauts, to a brand new episode of Toy Frenzy, the Motu and Toy live show where we get into the nitty-gritty of your favorite toys. We welcome always all of our Skelevaderites, Ozholes, Bobby's Blushers, Skavarniaks, and Battle Rammers. As always, we have our wonderful cast of misfits here with us. He's flocked, cocked, and ready to rock. Someone get this guy a Moss Man and he'll paint you a pretty picture. It's the Lord of the Frenzy. It's Skele Vader.
I don't know if anybody knows, but that painting's already done. You can watch it on a previous video, but
you need to go watch it. It's great. Because unlike Mattel, when Skele painted his Beastman picture, he didn't, when he did the Moss Man, he didn't just paint over a Beastman picture and change the colors.
Yeah.
It was great watching that. I always love watching your work when you do things, and then with the music, it's so calming and soothing.
No, thanks, Oz.
Fully caffeinated and ready to rumble, the Oz Prime of the Awesome Verse, and it's Ostradamus Toys. Over the hill and through the woods, this birthday boy ain't stopping for no one. It's beautiful, blushing Bobby Motu, who's not joining us this evening, but you know he's here in spirit, folks.
Yeah, he's probably watching right now.
I'm sure he's watching right now. He's just staying quiet in the chat. He doesn't want us to know that he watches us when we go live without him. We question if he even has any legs, because we know he's not wearing any pants. The terror of your backwoods. It's everyone's favorite funny uncle. It's Shawn Scavarna.
Who also is not with us tonight.
But we love him.
Yeah.
Motu fact of the day. This man's knowledge is rivaled by none, and you show him the proper respect in these parts. It's Battle Ram Blogs Adam.
We miss you too, Adam.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited. This time next week, I'll actually probably be hanging out with Adam a bit. So
that's true.
We're really looking forward to that, seeing him up in PowerCon. He's sugar frosted and part of a balanced breakfast. But let's hope you can survive his dusty croppings. It's Mr. DUSTINCROPSBOY.
His dusty croppings. That's awesome.
I don't know where Bud comes up with this stuff, but
I don't know.
God, do I love it. And this week's Patreon shout out is to the only man I know that can make a 3-hour live stream about a pair of sunglasses interesting. You know him. You love him. It's Sir Clifton, our Eternian Ellipse. Which,
all right.
It's actually great timing because he just popped up into the chat.
Welcome
Thank you
to
for
it, Clifton.
here. If you like these shout outs and want one of your own, make sure to head on over to patreon.com and hit up our hosts. Your pledge goes right back into the channel and it helps pay for StreamYard so we can host a full panel of 10 people at once. It also pays for Canva, which allows us to put all the bells and whistles on our videos and live streams. Not only that, but as you have seen last week, we did a slew of giveaways and have done more in the past, all because of patrons.
That's right.
But that's not all. You also get access to our lively IG chat group, Discord server, after hours live stream on Ostradamus Toys every Saturday night, and a very special Toy Frenzy sticker. If you sign up for Skelevator's Patreon, you get early access to his hit podcast, Cambridge and with Shawn, and a custom painted mini canvas of your favorite Motu character or a character of Skelevator's choosing. And finally, by signing up for Bobby's Patreon, he will give you a private screening where he will. Okay, I'm gonna cut that off there. You know, I don't read these things ahead of time. I just kind of go with the flow because I like to be as surprised as everybody else.
Come on, Bud. You know better. Why even write it down?
It's only a little comment about Dirty Dancing and how great of a movie it is. And,
all right. But we know that's a great movie.
Yes. Tonight, we sit down and chat with a man that repairs nightmare fuel. That's right. He takes discarded and broken fiberglass sculptures of your beloved McDonaldland's characters and brings them back to the land of joy, and not something that will surely kill Oz in his sleep. He does plenty of other amazing things, but we will let him talk about that. On to you, boys.
And Bud, we can't forget our guest co-host tonight, Mark Begley. So Mark, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate you being here. When I messaged Mark to say, hey, would you like to join us? We're going to be talking to Dallas Pogue. He was like, yes, of course. 100%. So thank you, Mark, for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And that Cambridge and with Shawn podcast that Mark and I do, you can listen to it early without commercials on my Patreon, but you can also listen to it on Mark's Patreon too. I'll go ahead and make sure I put a link to Mark's down below right after the video tonight. So that'll be there too for you folks. So Oz, what's new? Anything new? Did you find anything out there in the wild or order anything? Any exciting plastic coming your way?
Well, only exciting plastic is I'd actually forgotten that I had the last thing to hit my pile of loot before I canceled everything for the year was snake face. So I finally went ahead and got that shipped out. So that is on its way. I certainly will have snake face very soon. But other than that, no, nothing new this week. I mean, I got some new shoes, but that's not really Toy Frenzy stuff.
we need shoes. We need shoes more than we need toys.
Right?
Sometimes.
Well, and these shoes, they look like the old Airwalks from the 90s. It's a pair of Vans, so it's a skate shoe, but they look just like the way the old Airwalks used to look. So I was really pumped about those and made me want to get a skateboard.
That's nice. You should.
I should, because I haven't been skateboarding in years. I get like one of those old school boards, like from Gleaming the Cube. Awesome Christian Slater movie, if you haven't seen it.
Oh man, I'm laughing because by the time I was getting out, like working my way out of skateboarding, like it was like slowly dissipating from my life. I was still into it, but it was like going away. Was around the time Gleaming the Cube was coming out, and oh wow, Skyfall! Thank you so much. We got a super sticker from Skyfall.
Fantastic! One of the first in the show. That is amazing. Thank you, Skyfall.
I can't even. Whenever this happens on this channel now, I'm just like, I can't even believe that that's happening. So thanks so much, Skyfall. That really helps the channel out. Dallas, did you ever skateboard?
No, I had a skateboard, but I ended up just painting it.
Yeah,
that was all I could do. I could paint it.
When you that's good. That's actually good though. When you posted an image on I think it was on Instagram. You were noting the last Butthole Surfers record that came out was 22
years, going on 23.
23 years ago, and I wouldn't have discovered the Butthole Surfers if not for Thrasher magazine back in like 83.
Oh yeah,
actually 84-ish. I think I first saw an advertisement. Some show they were playing with other like bands.
Dead Kennedys, yeah.
Dead Kennedys.
TSOL.
Yeah, all those bands, and when you posted that, I was like, holy shit, that's so true. I think one of the members has guested with the Melvins a few times. But
Gibby has, yeah.
Yeah.
But Teresa, the drummer, just died last month.
Oh shit, are you serious?
Yeah.
That's awful.
I heard Gibby just had a kid. He's 65 years old and he just had a baby.
That's like that reminds me of what David Bowie, when David Bowie his second family so late in life. But yeah, good for Gibby, you know. Bring more art into the world through your children. So you a fan of the Butthole Surfers?
Yes.
Yeah. What's your favorite record?
My favorite record
of theirs?
Well, Locust.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely, 100%. So I'm really excited to start talking to Dallas guys about his work. Usually we do a round table where we talk about what kind of, like, if we found any interesting toys. I put it on Oz and I asked him because I haven't found anything this week.
We're all hunting for Moss Man.
I know that Moss Man is is really driving me crazy. It's kind of a sentimental thing for me because it's gonna be one of my last like Origins figures because we moved into territory that I'm not really that as interested in.
Right.
And once the Snake Mountain comes out, that kind of like is sealing the deal for me. There are a couple more Masterverse figures coming out that I'm interested in, but I feel like it's almost like an end of an era.
Right. I was going to ask you about your thoughts on that, Skelly, but we can always save that for another episode, especially as we go along and finish out these last few things. Because, if those are two of the last things on your list, Snake Mountain's out later this month. It's already started. Some people have seen it in the wild. And then Moss Man, he's popping up everywhere now.
Yeah.
Just not where I'm at, but hey.
Yeah. So this is kind of a general question, Dallas and Mark, but have you guys picked up anything interesting either from eBay or from an antique store or from a toy store or through the...
I've been obsessed with Jack Pack grocery store toys lately.
Oh.
I don't know if those the little 69-cent toys that were on cards. They
yeah.
had
Knockoff Little People? Are those the ones?
Yeah, Little People knockoffs. That's how I got started. But the artwork on the cards are just amazing. Like every artwork is different, and it's like different artists every time on every card. So I have a whole wall. I can't see it, but there's a whole wall here of.
That's nice.
Now, is that something like one of those cheap knockoff rack toys that now is extremely hard to find and expensive, or are they still relatively?
No, I get them all for like $10 each.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's
great.
That's always nice.
Yeah, when you're looking for old sought after kind of collectible for yourself and it's that cheap, that's a beautiful thing.
I've had so many expensive collectibles over the years, but now I'm just like, I'll just get what I like.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it, man. We preach that all the time on here.
It's all my Jack pack.
Wow.
I'm gonna go ahead and make the screen big for you so we can get a good.
I got it.
Oh, Oz did, yeah.
They're all just
Look at
magneted to my wall right now.
Colorful.
I'm in my
All the
warehouse.
colors.
So.
That's great.
That's cool.
Jack. Now that you've mentioned it, the prices are going to start going up because everybody out here is going to start looking for them. So
no.
That's why I'm not going to mention what I'm collecting right now.
Oh no. Yeah, because our show is so far-reaching and influential.
Hey,
prices just jumped up. They've doubled in the last 2 seconds since bringing it up.
Well, Mark and I have noticed this, that whenever we converse about something on Cambridge and with Shawn, suddenly it ends up showing up in some way. Not just the algorithm on our phones, but like somehow I'll run across something or like the Hamburglar and Grimace showing up in commercials again, like after we started jumping into that territory.
Right.
It's like,
but it might be like the new car syndrome where it was always there, but you just started noticing it.
That's exactly
now.
it. Yeah.
That's true.
So you're not going to say what you've been looking at, Mark?
I have one thing that I got, but I'm going to save it for Cambridge and with Shawn.
Oh, all right. Cool.
Fair enough.
We so for those of you that do listen to that podcast, we are taking August off. So it's going to be a real anticipation for folks then if they like the show.
It's not all that interesting.
And he says that every time, and then we start talking about it. It's like, oh yeah, holy shit, that's amazing.
And it's not something that I'm worried about the price going up either. I'm not holding it to my chest because of that, but I'm going to save it.
All right. Yeah, that's cool.
I got an entire collection in one fell swoop on eBay for a really good price, and it was
gotta love it
nice.
when that happens.
That's beautiful. I'm gonna just
they're little plastic things. I'll say that.
Ooh, the best. Dallas is wearing a Chuck E. Cheese t-shirt.
No, it's a Pizza Time Theater.
Oh shit!
Pre-Chuck E. Cheese.
Better.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
That's incredible.
That's even better, of course. Right? That's amazing. Chuck E. Cheese is actually one of the things that I'm going to be wanting to talk about soon on Cambridge and with Shawn. I'm not going to say when I'm going to talk about that, but Pizza Time Theater, what a throwback. That takes me back. That's awesome. So anything else before we jump into the slides Dallas sent us?
I've got nothing on topic.
Can you tell I'm chomping at the bit?
Get to it, man. Let's go.
Let's
You're
go.
salivating. I'm watching it drip down.
That's why we're here, son.
I'm going to shut off my printers. The fan is blowing loud.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Oh. Can we blow up his screen, show the collection off behind him a little bit more?
Oh, yeah. Let's do that. Oh, yeah.
Showing off the collection.
All right.
Hey,
look at that.
That exact same Barry Goldwater.
That is so cool.
Just a beautiful vintage collection there, like of so many good things. Oh, wow.
Yeah, all of it. Look at that. Oh, man.
I decided I just like colorful things that are smiling, I guess.
That's a beautiful collection to have.
They're not really like gender specific either. They're kind of like, they're not really overly boy and overly girl. They're just sort of unisex, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I love I
All
love
toys can be.
I love that there's one box for Marilyn Manson up there in the upper left-hand corner. He
You
stands
gotta
out
have the
like
lunchbox.
That's so cool. He stands
There's a
out
couple
like
of
have-
figures of him up there too.
Yeah.
I noticed the Barry Goldwater that you have. Do you have the who was
Johnson?
his- Yeah,
No.
yeah, me either. Those are great little figures.
Oh, so cool.
And I can't put my it's like on the tip of my tongue, but your plastic mask in the top upper corner there opposite of Marilyn Manson, I'm
That
just
one?
like, yes.
I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
a generic Indian boy.
But still, like that style of mask, we all remember buying that costume set.
Oh yeah.
You know, one similar to that as a kid. It just, looking at this entire collection takes me right back to being like 5 years old.
Yeah, that mask looks like it's totally ripping off It's a Small World
Right.
character design. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Gorgeous collection.
Thanks for letting us indulge.
Sure. I'm up on a box right now, so I'm teetering.
Yeah, don't fall over.
Yeah.
J Max says, beautiful pure art, curating something like that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you collect stuff, it's a shame to keep it boxed up. I mean, find a way to put it on the wall, find a way to enjoy it. Otherwise, why do you have it? Right? That's the big question.
Right.
And the process of curating your collection is so much fun. I don't know about you guys, but like I could just lose myself for hours just moving stuff around on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I was just going to say, I see a comment here from Damon that giant Fisher Price dog is cool. And that might be a good starting off point because that's something that you upscaled, correct?
Yeah. I actually made a bigger one.
Nice.
even better.
Amazing.
Wow.
That's so cool. Yeah, we're gonna check that stuff out right now. Let's jump into the slides, and we got the thumbnail to start us off. But so what I did is I ordered them a little bit, Dallas. I'm gonna move. Thank you, Oz, for doing that. I ordered them based on sort of like gut instinct. So I don't know if I'm correct in like creating a kind of chronology here. Probably not. But I did want to start off with love your logos.
I stole that off a Jack Pack.
I love it.
Ooh, that gives me an idea.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's true. Yeah, that's beautiful. Love your logos. If you watch his YouTube channel, DUSTINCROPSBOY, he features minimal but really brilliant animation. He brings in vintage commercials, and it's a real. Honestly, I love your channel, Dallas, because it's a real throwback machine. And it's also craft, like also you're making stuff in the videos and working on things. It's like you're hitting all the buttons for me. But this is the first picture that I wanted to show. This amazing upscaled cassette tape. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here.
That was one of my first attempts at fiberglass.
Oh.
And it was before 3D printing, before I had any 3D printers. So I hand sculpted all the parts and made molds of them and everything. Wow. I only made 2 of them. And you can't see it in the picture, but there's actually the little foam sponge and the little brass tab and everything around the bottom. And there's brown ribbon and everything in there. So
that's incredible.
Wow.
So this is fiberglass, and you created the mold and then you used fiberglass to create the tape itself.
Yes, I made the original out of wood, and then I did a silicone mold, and then laid up fiberglass in that mold, 2 parts, front and back. That's incredible.
So is this just like a wall feature? I've seen stuff.
This is Toy Capsule, and I think he's in Rhode Island. I think he has it hanging in his store. I'm not sure. I only made 2. The other one was Prince Purple Rain, and my
Nice.
friend has that hanging in his
Very
living room.
awesome.
I've seen coffee table, like
Yeah.
these and VHS, old VHS
Yeah.
tapes made into coffee tables.
Oh, we're about to look at a coffee table here pretty soon, but go ahead, Oz. Yeah.
I was going to say, I did have a question to go along with the tape.
Mhm.
Did you upscale a pencil to you?
I did.
Yes, because it's got to go with it. You got to have the tools.
Yeah, you got to rewind the tape. Or bring the tape in after it.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
it gets spit out of your player,
That's
right.
out of your giant car.
Piggybacking off of Mark's question, can it like stand and be 3-dimensional, or is there missing parts in the back, or is it like can you
For the cassette,
yeah,
it's full.
oh
It's
that's so
100%
cool.
full, yeah. And
Wow.
the text is on the other side and everything. So
That's fantastic. Screen printed text or hand painted?
hand cut vinyl, or not hand cut, but
Very
cut
cool.
or-
Yeah.
That's
beautiful.
craftsmanship.
Yeah.
I want a giant sound wave to put it in.
Yeah, totally. One of the things that I saw the last time we were at Disneyland, I was Disneyland with the family, was a R2-D2 based on the toy, and it was about the size of what R2-D2 would be in real life. And when I saw that you had made one of these, I just thought, every Star Wars fan needs to have something like this. The Mark introduced me to the Gentle Giant 12-inch scale action figure replicas. But tell us about the size of this R2.
He's 8 times the size. So that's kind of the scale. That's why one of my websites is ×8.
Yeah.
Everything I scaled was 8 times bigger.
Yeah.
But I've since kind of deviated from that. But originally that was the scale I chose.
This is R2-D2 was one of my favorite action figures as a kid. And it was destroyed. By the time my mom gave away all my toys, the sticker was already peeling off. It had gone in the bath with me, all kinds of stuff. But
take this in the bath with you.
Yeah, you can take this in the bath with you.
Or shower.
Yeah.
I just love that the head looks like it was described over the phone to Kenner.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
Which it might not be too far
the
from
main
the truth.
character, and they had hundreds of pictures of him, and that's what they came up with.
It's amazing. Did you see the trailer for Ahsoka?
Yeah.
They threw in a droid that looks just like this.
Yep.
So awesome.
I remember being at like a daycare when I was really young, and they had an R2-D2 action figure there. Now, by the time I came around, most Star Wars toys, you just couldn't find them in store anymore. You could only pick them up from yard sales and stuff. That was back when they were super cheap at yard sales, and I'm sad that I never took more advantage of that. But I was a little kid, so I didn't have any money. Yeah. But I remember this daycare, they had an R2-D2 figure, and as soon as I would show up, the first thing I'd do is go run over and go find that R2-D2. And I'm pretty sure I probably even bullied a kid or two, actually, to give it to me when I showed up there. But I was so young, I just didn't know better. To me, this was my toy because, nobody else really knew who it was. And I was like, that's R2-D2. And freaked out. And I love seeing it in this large scale because I think I'd probably do the same thing. I'd go bully somebody and grab this and be like, it's mine.
Yeah, this is one worth bullying somebody over. Is this 3D printed, or is this sort of the same? Yeah. Amazing. Now, a lot of people. I was at a Lego thing with my nephew a couple weeks ago, and I saw some upscaled Lego minifigurines. But a lot of folks just print them out. They do a little bit of sanding, but I notice in your videos you take great care in eliminating the evidence that it's 3D printed, and I really admire that.
I hate print lines so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always the downfall to 3D printing with
Mhm.
certain filaments. I mean, resin's really nice, but then you just got that fragility of the resin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So this was just a one-off for a customer, but normally I would have made a mold off it and cast it in resin. I actually do have another one that I'm working on of R5 that I'm going to mold.
Nice.
Ooh. So another question is the sticker, the sticker around the body, is that a sheet with printed?
It's a vinyl sticker, printed
Very
sticker.
cool. Very
Even
cool.
better.
That's
Keeping
awesome.
it so original that way. I love it.
I also made his third leg from the droid factory, but
Yes.
not in the picture there.
Nice.
Fantastic. Now, does his head click? That's
It
one of
does.
my- oh, that, how did you create that?
I just put a little piece of styrene inside and just hits it.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
I love that.
That's phenomenal that you kept the real only action feature that the toy had. That's just wonderful, and I'm so glad you were able to do that.
Of course.
This is gorgeous. All right, next thing. Oh, we got this guy.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about your decision to pick this character. This is the Death Star Gunner. Yeah.
That was a client request.
Very cool.
Oh.
And is this 3D printed as well?
Yes.
About when did you get your 3D printer and start messing around with that stuff?
5 years ago.
Okay.
I only know that because Facebook gave me a memory lately.
Memory.
I would have guessed like a couple of years, but it's 5 years.
Yeah. I'm
like to the day, 5 years to the day yesterday.
That's
Wow.
great. Well, happy anniversary.
Right?
This is so cool. I admire people who work with 3D printers. It's still really foreign territory for me. I kind of look at 3D printing as this sort of like maybe something I'll get to when I retire or something like that. Because I feel like there's a lot of learning involved.
Yeah. I mean, there's different levels. You can, just download files and print them, or
yeah.
I like to actually create the files from scratch.
Yeah.
That's kind of my thing. Except for this guy. This guy I didn't create from scratch. I'm not so good with the more organic shapes.
Right.
I'm more of the geometric shapes, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
So the R2 I drew myself. I didn't get that file off anything. I actually took an R2 and measured it and everything. So.
That's great. You look real happy in this picture too. The Death Star Gunner has always been one of my favorite figures. So that's fantastic.
He always looked so much more ominous than so many of the other Imperial toys. Like the Stormtrooper figure, like in the movie, there's a certain little bit of menace. It's like almost like there's a scowl on their helmet. But when the toy came out, they kind of looked a little dopey.
Yeah.
Right.
And the Snowtrooper, he was all right, but there wasn't a whole lot going on there. And like, I don't know what it is. It's like, I guess that red visor just makes him look so much more imposing than most of the other Imperial figures.
Yeah. You gotta be an interesting person to agree to deal with a helmet like that. And in the movie, it always looks like his head, like he's about to fall over onto the control panel. Yeah, that's great. Love it. Now, this one's different. And because it's IG-11, and he is the size of what IG-11 would be in real life, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a display I made for my store so that
Yeah.
people could go up and take a picture with it.
Tell us a little bit about your store, because you mentioned that in the video of this. And so you used to have like an antique store?
A vintage collectible store with several different vendors. They would rent space for me. It still exists, but I sold it 2 years ago.
So tell us about what made you decide to start Well, I have a whole backstory with IG-88 being one of my favorite figures. So IG-11, when I saw IG-11 show up in Mandalorian and behave the way he did, and move the way he did, it was the greatest, one of the greatest. Yeah, just one of the greatest moments for me as a Star Wars fan after, I'm not going to go down this rabbit hole, but a lot of disappointments. IG-11 just made my day and still does, like whenever he shows up in whatever form. So tell us a little bit about why you chose to do IG-11.
My friend Dave Moog from Droid Division, he made the files for that, and I too. I just liked that figure, and so I decided to make it. And I put a little motion activator in it, so when you walk by him, he'd light up. All his lights would light up, and then he would say one of 5 or 6 different lines.
Yeah,
and then his little bomb in the center would light up.
So cool.
And then the Grogu would go up and down in the bag.
Yep.
That's amazing.
And I enjoyed watching you make the wall and the door too, on your video too. So everything here that you're looking at, folks, was made by Dallas. And so
I made that in a very small basement below my store. I had to do it in parts because it was so small down there. So.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and this is. I'd already seen some of your. I think I'd already seen some of your videos in your warehouse. So this is before your warehouse, before you had a large space to work with this stuff.
Yes.
And if you're anybody watching this channel, so many of the people that watch this channel are creatives themselves, so they know the struggle of working within small spaces. So this is quite an accomplishment. So fantastic.
Thanks.
Have you been to Galaxy's Edge yet? Over at any of the?
I have no. No, I have not.
It's pretty fun. I mean, it's Disney, so they're out to get your money. But the immersive aspect of it is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. I'd like to someday, but yeah, I've seen tons of pictures. Which pretty neat.
And then this made me really happy. I love this. So
that was just a joke concept. That's all 100% just a digital image I drew, and I just kind of did it as a joke. But then everybody wanted one.
Yeah,
and I'd be all over that. Yeah.
I thought, well, I can just make the shell and just buy a bunch of stompers. And I looked on eBay. Oh, stompers are about $100 each, loose and broken. So then I had one stomper, so then I cast every single part, and I got every part except for one little gear. There's like a little worm gear that I can't get to work. But once I get that gear done, I have all the parts for everything else, and it's like 2 or 3 years ongoing. But someday I'll finish them.
Well, there's a lot of people that are going to want this. This is something we all got. If you're a Star Wars fan, you got to have this. And the packaging.
Actually, I found a vintage Kmart pricing gun too to do the price tags.
Oh, that's even better. Even better, because I used to work at Kmart, so I definitely remember all those little labels and stickers.
And the ink still works. Did you have to re-ink the mechanism?
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
What's the box art based on?
Just a stomper box. I think it was
they come in. Okay.
I don't know. It was I kind of mixed up a bunch of different ones to sort of cobble this together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fantastic. Star Wars edition stomper.
I love that.
848. Price like that.
Wish.
Did you already show Damon's comment, Oz?
Yes, I did. The
Chef's kiss.
Kmart sticker, Chef's kiss. Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah.
It just brings it right back to that. As a matter of fact, I love it. Some people don't like it, but I absolutely love it when you can buy an old vintage carded toy and it still has the original price sticker on it. For some people it says that goes down in value or not, but I just love seeing that. One of the oldest figures, and I'm not even sure if I still have it anymore. I had a original Tila in package, still on card from all the way back in 1982. And it had I believe it was a Toys R Us sticker on it for $2.99.
Oh man.
And I was just like, oh, I love seeing this.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, the plastic bubble, the blister pack itself was actually all yellowed from years of just existing. So I know that counts against it, but it's getting harder and harder to find packaging from back then that doesn't have the yellow blister.
It makes me wonder, just the side, I'm going to get a little sidetracked here, but it makes me wonder, mint on card is a thing. But for me, I personally feel like a packaging that has evidence of the era, whether it be price tags or some kid drew on it or some, that to me is for me feels a little bit more valuable. It's a little more historical.
Right. There's a story behind it. It's got a special place in history. It shows that mark of history on it and where it was.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I'm the same way. I'd rather see that on, what I'm collecting than just having it like necessarily factory sealed. I mean, that's cool too. Don't get me wrong. That's always nice to see. Especially when I open something that's hadn't been open for that long and I'm just like, oh yes. Cry mint on card collectors.
Yeah. Okay, so now this is something that is unfamiliar to me a little bit, but I love these. I fell in love with them as soon as I saw them. So tell us a little bit about this, Dallas.
The middle one is the original, and it was a bubble bath, probably 1979-ish. I had it as a kid, and I just loved it because it was kind of a 3PO R2 mashup. And so this is one of the rare times when I scaled it down from the original. So the white and the gold are my copies, and I made them into banks, whereas the original he popped the head off and there was like a little shampoo cap in there.
I have my shampoo bottle Darth Vader. I love shampoo bottle or bubble bath bottles that are characters, but this is gorgeous. And for Masters of the Universe fans that have a keen eye, you look at that the reel to reel, push button panel there on the chest, and I be willing to say that the center portion of that is almost exactly Faker's chest sticker from the Masters of the Universe line. That's awesome. Beautiful. And what's great is I love seeing like trends, like the reel to reel robot thing, like control panel, and seeing it show up and show up and show up. That's fantastic.
I just love all the knockoff Star Wars toys that came out in 78 and 79.
Oh yeah. And you're right. These guys are like, it's like if R2 and C-3PO had a kid, they would be these guys.
Maybe a little Robbie robot in there.
Yeah, for sure.
The arms for sure.
And and we're going to talk about Black Hole in just a little bit, but I see there's so much of that in the design of the movie, of the art design in Black Hole too. How can we get close to Star Wars? How can we get a little bit of 2001 Space Odyssey in here too? And I love that appropriation at its finest.
Sure.
Here's that coffee table. Wow. I absolutely love it. There's a music equipment store that used to be in Eagle Rock in Los Angeles. I can't remember the name of the store, but the owner of the store he had what he called a battery museum. And so he collected batteries, but the museum was like two big glass cases where he had all these batteries from different eras. And And I think the battery is one of the most overlooked pieces of consumer art.
Yeah,
I love.
I collect 9 volts.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I can see why, because the opportunity for graphic design is on that flat side, and there's a weight to them. You know, you can stick your tongue to the 2 things on the top and get a little shock. There's pleasure on multiple levels.
They're the oddball of the battery world.
They are.
I was gonna say, I think we're all thinking about licking it right now.
The chat's going crazy with that.
Is this fiberglass as well?
No, that's wood.
Oh,
that was just like
wow.
a day project. I had some wood laying around. Like, I'm gonna make something. So
yeah,
That's got to be pretty solid and heavy for wood.
it is. I built like a skeleton kind of armature of just like a shelf stack inside, and then wrapped it.
Okay.
I wanted to learn how to do that. I think it's called kerfing, where you do the rounded wood and you cut slots in the backside and kind of curve it. So I never did that before, and I was looking for a reason to figure out how to do that. So
yeah, that was always a phenomenon to me as a young skater. People making the half pipes, and exploring those techniques. But yeah, you did a great job here.
Yeah, and that was all just hand painted. I didn't use stickers or anything.
Wow, that is really, really well done.
I love the
old wheels, so I can push it around.
Oh, good. That's good.
Good call.
How do you move it around? I love the old Radio Shack font. Oh, it's gorgeous.
Cobwebs joining us a little late. He was doing some hard work out there petitioning to get McDonald's lands back.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think they'll ever really bring it back, considering the problems of the Grimace bounce house thing and the Officer Big Mac treehouse thing as well. But man, they are gorgeous. We all want that. We're going to get to that in a moment. All right. Now, tell us about this, because this reminded me of the artist Jasper Johns. I don't know if you're familiar with his work, but he did these bronze sculptures of his paintbrushes and the jar he would use to mix paint. He also did the Valentine ale bronze beer can, just casting it in bronze and then painting it. So tell us about these. I feel like that might be this territory in a little bit of a way.
Why did I do these? I think I saw a really big PVC pipe at the hardware store. Big,
yeah.
I don't know, 6-inch. I'm like, what can I make out of these?
Yeah.
So I decided to make the Krylon can, and then it just sort of went from there.
I'm pretty sure.
I'm kind of a graphic designer, sort of. I don't know if you want to say by trade or whatever, but I love graphic design. So, and I love vintage advertising.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, we do too.
Signs. Yeah.
And I'm one of those cans of WD-40, by the way, if anybody wants to send me one.
There we go, folks. Send some WD-40.
A lot of squeaky stuff around this old house.
I have one for you, Mark. Next time I see you, I'll bring you one.
I'm going to steal one from my office. So.
Yeah.
The WD-40 and the Breck can were by far the best sellers.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Is this also eight times upscaled?
No, I think they're 3.5 or something.
Wow.
Nice.
Are really big.
Eight up they'd be like 8 foot tall.
Yeah.
12 inches.
I was just gonna say, I'm pretty sure my dad had this shelf hanging in our shed as a kid.
Yeah.
Can of Mountain Dew and all.
I love that old Mountain Dew logo.
Yeah.
My old boss was obsessed with Mountain Dew. He had like a book about the history of Mountain Dew, and he had like all these different. It's really interesting because you would never know. Some people are collectors, and you would never know it from meeting them, and then going to his house and seeing this like this secret Mountain Dew obsession. It was a real real glorious moment. But yeah, all these logos are fantastic. Raid, STP, Oil, WD-40. I mean, especially the Krylon and the Rust-Oleum cans. They're real beautiful designs.
Yes, I have the actual cans, and I put them on my scanner and sort of roll it along as the scanner was going.
Yeah,
and it would get all distorted and weird, but then I'd have to go in and clean it all up and stuff. But every letter, every font is researched and figured out what font they use, and everything is just put back together exactly how it was.
That's fantastic.
And then the spray cans do have a marble in them.
Oh, they do. Oh,
Everyone asks if they do. And then there's a little spring in the nozzle, so you can kind of push it down.
Oh, that's so good. Oh my gosh.
And the WD-40 has the red straw taped to the side.
Oh,
Nice.
fantastic. Yeah. Love it.
And then people ask why I don't make the caps for it all the time. Like, I like the iconic dome and nozzle, and I thought the cap would just sort of take away from that. So that's why I didn't do caps for them, except for the WD-40, because that cap is pretty iconic, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a difference, right, between the uncapped spray can versus the capped spray can.
Yeah.
And you're right. You hit the nail on the head with WD-40. It without that red top, it just doesn't have the same resonance.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Now we get into the Fisher-Price figurines. I had this dog, so when I saw that you were making this, I think it was passed down by my older step siblings, but I had it and I loved this dog. I was obsessed with the ears for some reason. It's that shape.
50-60% of them are chewed on.
Yep.
When you find them up.
Yep.
That and the Bert figure, his hair is always chewed on.
Exactly. I know Mark and I talk about this, but we go looking for vintage Sesame Street stuff on eBay all the time, and 9 times out of 10, like, yeah, that the Bert Bert hair is always a mess. Too.
It had a good tongue feel to it. I remember just the way it was shaped. If you put your tongue in it, I just remember it felt really good.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
If you're Gen X, you were assigned one of these dogs at birth. So
I
think everybody had one.
I heard somewhere that there are more Fisher-Price little people than there are people.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised.
Probably.
Yeah. Now, I would love to see a room with just piles of them. That would be beautiful. This is so. What made you decide to pick the dog? We'll talk about the other characters too, but what about the dog for you?
That was actually my very first 3D sculpting I ever did. Like, digitally sculpting. Like when I was trying to figure out how to use these programs, I'm like, I'm gonna pick something easy, and then it wasn't as easy as it looked. I mean, the body is super easy, but the way the mouth attaches to the head and his head isn't perfectly round. It was actually a little tricky, but I managed to get it. So that was my first thing.
One of? I was just going to add. I kind of followed the progression on the videos where at first you were taking the items to it wasn't an auto shop, to a shop to do the 3D printing, and you couldn't film the process and all that stuff.
That was a lie.
It's like, what's so secret about this process?
That's fantastic.
Some of my early videos are kind of lame.
Oh my gosh. If anybody
where were you taking them though? It wasn't an auto parts shop. It was
I just did it all myself.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Yeah. The whole thing was a lie. I get you.
Yeah.
That's great. One thing that Mortarhead's Mark does is he incorporates the seam when he makes a latex mask of an action figure's head sculpt. He incorporates the seam, and you did that here with the dog head.
Yeah,
which is great.
yeah, his seam goes across his face.
Yep.
Yep.
The first instinct for somebody new to this, or that might just be interested in doing it for the first time, the first mistake they would make would be to leave out the seam.
Right.
I'm not saying that would be the first mistake they'd make, but 9 times out of 10, I could see somebody missing that. So that's a good eye for detail.
They'd idealize it, but you should make it accurate.
For sure.
Yeah, that was one thing also when they like with the Gentle Giant, when they like did the Yoda, they didn't upscale the fabric, and that really bothered me.
Yeah.
So I think they used like the same fabric for the little one, but it needed to be upscaled. Yeah.
Mark, you have that Yoda back there, right?
Yeah.
Can you show it?
He's probably dusty.
That's all right.
As I knock over my berry gold water. Yeah, it's
oh yeah.
Other than it also being matte instead of gloss.
Yeah.
The outfit is one of the things that kind of bugs me about this guy.
Because the original was quite fuzzy, so it should be
it's
really fuzzy when it's blown up 3 times like that.
Yeah.
Right.
It's real smooth.
It's much easier to duplicate the vinyl capes than it is to do that, I suppose.
Yeah.
And here's one that you turned into a piggy bank.
Yep.
Just seems so appropriate.
It makes sense, right? Logical.
I think that was my first attempt at rotocasting, so I just had to learn how to do that so I can make it hollow.
Oh yeah. Very cool. And the face on the big one and on this one too is stenciled.
Yep.
Which is good because the toy had kind of that, you could see where the paint would spray out a little bit sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Amazing. Yeah, J-Mac Yoda was one of my favorites too, for sure. And this guy, I went to elementary school with this kid. I think we all did.
Yeah.
Actually, all the Fisher-Price people are based on real people. They're based on the creators' kids and stuff.
No kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That makes it so much better. I totally went to school with this kid. But yeah, this is fantastic too. What made you decide on this guy?
He looked easy.
Yeah.
I can't figure out how to do the girl's hair.
Oh.
Yeah. I have the girl like almost done, but her hair is the little
kind of helmet bang head.
Mm-hmm.
The pixie cut.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
So I only did, these are the really big ones. These are the eight up ones. I only did 3. I did Lucky the dog, Billy, and then Bert.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna get to Bert right now.
Yeah.
Bert.
One of my favorite toys is right there, Bert, the Fisher-Price Little People Bert. It's just beautiful. There's something magical about that, about just that particular figure.
It's the hair.
Yeah, my wife and I have a joke. She's the Bert and I'm the Ernie in the relationship. But yeah, these are fantastic.
Is the little guy in the car wearing a whoopee cap?
No, that's the prince from the castle side.
Oh, okay. Darn.
So that's the original piece there, and then the 2 banks I think are 3 up, and then the ones in back are 8 up.
So what's the exact height of the Bert?
I think he's like 14 inches or so.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did I send you a picture of me holding it? It's hard to tell scale without.
I think so. Yep.
There.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's huge. Hey, Glorp.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Got some of that.
Glorp is in my vintage shop. He
Oh,
sells
okay.
his shirts there.
Oh, cool. So where do you mind letting us know where your vintage shop is so folks in the area might come by?
It's in Minneapolis.
Okay. And what's it called?
Time Bomb Vintage.
Time Bomb Vintage in Minneapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could just stare at this Bert for years. And
here it is.
Yeah, I just got the Diamond Select versions of these figures. But these are, these are immaculate. There's Bob and then Vince.
The Vincent is. I have him here.
Oh
wow!
Well, let me make that bigger if you don't mind. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
He's based on the Mego, and then I did a few of those for clients, but then somebody wanted a Bob, and it's impossible to get a Mego Bob figure.
Oh
they're not very good anyway. They're kind of, I don't know. They didn't do very good on that, so he sent me this is a Kubrick based off the Kubrick one, so he sent me that to take measurements of and blow up.
Very cool.
So it still has that kind of toy look. It's not 100% movie accurate, but it still kind of goes in with the Mego Vincent.
Now you got to do the Mego Maximilian.
Yep.
Love the Fry guy in the background too.
Oh yeah. That's good. I'm a huge fan of the Black Hole. I don't know about you all, but I love that movie.
Yes.
It's spectacular.
I think I'm the outlier here because I don't care much for it.
Really? Yeah, I love it. I've
only watched it once, so
I watched it a lot as a kid, and there are terrifying moments in that movie that I showed scenes to our daughters, and they're like, "That's not scary. What are you talking about?" But for me, I carry that terror with me, even though they're really mild scenes. Yeah, it's a great movie.
I remember watching it when I was young and not thinking much of it, but that's because I'd watched I basically wore out our VHS of Star Wars at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really think much of Black Hole. And then as I got older, it came on Sci-Fi and I remembered it and I was like, okay. And I started watching it again. And it was something I grew to have a bigger appreciation for the older I got.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I had this.
Yes.
I had this wind-up robot.
Tell me that wind-up feature works on the bigger one.
We got the.
Oh yeah, there it is on card.
Hold on.
Yeah.
That's how big he is. I made him a bobble, so he.
Oh,
okay.
That's
So he
cool.
bobbles. That is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's great.
Funny.
Did you 3D print the translucent dome?
I did one print and then made a mold,
and
then got some blue or some clear resin and some blue tint.
Yeah,
that was a learning curve to get that blue just right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
if you're Gen X, you had one of these.
Absolutely. This is required, right? Required in your.
They hand them out at school, first day of school.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much. I think it's tied to your social security number.
I started a 8-up one, but
wow,
never finished it. So
you can almost turn that into a mask now.
Oh yeah.
Someday.
Wow.
Someday you'll get there.
And that one I have a whole motor plan to get him to walk and everything. So
that would be exciting to see. I'd love to see that.
Fiberglass inside.
Oh.
Damon's mentioning he still thinks he has one.
That's awesome. Damon was also the one saying that he just donated a bunch of Fisher Price wooden figures to Goodwill. Yeah, look through your stuff, Damon. Let us know before you do it.
All right, I want to see pictures if you had this robot. I want to see it in one of your photos soon if you still
Would
have
have taken
this
those
robot.
Fisher Price figures.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Actually,
Damon.
wooden ones.
Yeah, go through your stuff and see if you still have it. But yeah, the wooden ones, it's if you can go back to Goodwill tomorrow, Damon, and grab those.
Buy them back.
Yeah, buy them back, right? You donated them for free. Now buy them back.
Yeah, there you go. That's real Goodwill, right? All right. Now, so the so I'm curious to know what got you started wanting to repair or interested in repairing or duplicating the McDonaldland figures. First of all, the characters are amazing. I believe they're amazing. But tell us a little bit about your history with the McDonaldland characters.
Well, my ex and I had a Mayor McCheese statue that a friend of ours had acquired from his roommate who ditched out on rent. So he sold that to us.
Oh.
And we had that for years. And then we split up. So then she got that. It's actually written in the divorce decree. She gets the Mayor McCheese.
Wow.
And the judge was like, "What is that?" Like,
The
we don't have
judges
boats in
pretending
real
to not.
estate. We have Mayor McCheese.
Yeah.
So that she has that, and then it was kind of falling apart, and I just tried to fix it one day, and this is years ago, and it lasted for a little while, but then it fell apart again. So I'm like, I'm going to do this right, and then I just started doing that, and I always had the idea of making miniature ones, but there was really no way to do that until 3D scanners kind of hit the market.
Yeah.
So once I had hers all torn apart and then painted in primer gray, I took that opportunity to scan it, because scanners like kind of a gray instead of, full color and stuff.
Right.
So that just sort of planted the seed for that. And then I didn't think anybody would care, but I've now made 50 mares and 50 Big Macs, and I'm starting on the third one now. And I still get asked every day for mares and Big Macs, but I have to go on to the next one.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely one of my goals to get one of your small replicas, because they are amazing. We're gonna look at those images in just a little bit. Do you have one there?
I do. Look at.
Yeah.
Here's my prototype that I used to make the mold off of, and then here's the mold.
Oh yeah.
That I made.
Wow.
I rotocast them so they're hollow.
Oh, cool.
And then
I love the gloss finish that you get on those, because it looks just like what you would walk in and see at a McDonald's.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a 2-part automotive clear coat that I use, like an industrial grade. So
yeah,
I'm sick of these seeds. That's why I don't want to do the Big Mac for a while.
Yeah.
The smooth buns.
I figured out after painting them all that I did 10,298 seeds.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I need a break from him for a while.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Totally.
Sorry, Mark. That's Mark's favorite character.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's scanned off of the Mayor McCheese that.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It's just phenomenal.
They're beautiful. So you can go to your website and see the next time something pops up, and the next thing that you've got coming is Grimace. I have image of that. Oh, there we go. Let's make that bigger.
Yep, I'm on it.
So here's I made a template to bend the bars.
Oh yeah.
For the cage.
Oh, that's so cool.
I tried several different methods for these bars. I tried tubes, but they just kept crimping. Then I tried bamboo skewers that I would steam in a steam box, and that worked for a while. But then once they dry, they straighten back out. But then I got armature wire.
There you go.
Seemed to work pretty good.
Perfect.
I just kind of put it on here and sort of pound it into shape.
Yeah.
And then that holds the shape.
It's that figuring. It's for me the big hurdle for stuff like this, and why I don't. I mean, there's numerous reasons why I don't, but you figuring that out to me is completely foreign. Like, I wouldn't know how to. The first step, like bend.
I had to first figure out how to make a steam box too before I could try the steaming of the wood. So it's a process.
Yeah, I saw your image of the steam box that you were working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked, but it didn't work.
Yeah. It's the patience it's like trial and error, right? You got to decide, am I going to have the patience to do this, to stick this through or not, and find your solution.
Right.
So this is one of the fiberglass Playland sculptures of Grimace that we're looking at here, and that's before, right?
Yeah, that one's nylon, and it's a teeter-totter.
Oh, the teeter-totter, here it is.
Nylon.
Nylon.
Oh, wow.
I didn't realize that some of them were nylon.
Yeah, for the Mare and the Big Mac, the heads are nylon, but the bodies are fiberglass. So
okay.
And the nylon, the paint just does not stick to them very good at all. So
right.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So that's why, like on this one, if you go back to the before, the paint was completely just off of it.
Yeah.
I didn't scrub that off. That's how I got it. So. And it only sticks along the edge there where the seam line was, because I think they would like put Bondo or something there so that actually the paint would grab a little bit on that. That's why you can still see a little bit of paint.
Oh, yeah.
Gives it something to adhere to.
Yeah.
So how do you solve that when you're restoring it to keep the paint on?
Just a really good primer, and then the clear coat kind of puts like a magic shell around it.
Yeah. Just don't drop it, right, folks? Yeah.
Gel rules, don't drop the soap.
Yep. And in the background here, we see the Mayor McCheese head, and here's how it came to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that looks like that's a different. Is that also nylon? But that looks more like fiberglass.
Yeah, that's nylon. That's nylon.
Oh,
it's the exact same head as the statue.
Oh, okay.
They just reused it.
Yeah.
It's so crazy seeing these, like, in the condition that you're getting them in too.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that they're not just completely crumbling and falling apart at this point. It's phenomenal. Well, definitely, I'm sure some are way worse than others. Depends on how well loved they were as a kid. But it's phenomenal seeing the work you do, bringing these back to that, you know, just how we remember them being when we were going through there and playing as kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, this is amazing. And this is that newest batch that you were working on, correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just finished that like 2 weeks ago.
So speaking of the damage, Oz, let's check out the damage on these guys.
Right. Yeah, this is a little bit more like, you know, that kind of fallen apart look, like chips and gouges messing up the whole thing. Yeah, you know, kids were climbing all over this stuff.
So I don't know if you want to reveal your secrets, Dallas, but
I have no secrets.
There we go. That's good.
Except for the 3D scanning.
Yeah, there you go. Tell us
that's not
how.
A secret, that's a lie.
There is the difference, right?
Yeah.
So tell us how you acquire these items. People who love this stuff, you know, you're probably not going to find them at antique stores, but maybe junkyards. Yeah.
These are all different people own all these. They get them on Marketplace or, you know, the usual Craigslist, eBay. I actually found a Big Mac at a store fixture store a couple months ago.
Wow.
And they were not going to sell it, but we convinced them to sell it. So
there you go.
You just got to tell them, like, it looks
The
like
full-
garbage sitting there.
yeah, I showed them
totally
pictures of
fix
what I
this.
do with them and stuff. And
Yeah.
but they would get people coming in all the time saying they wanted to buy it, but they're like, "I'll give you $400 for it." But no.
Yeah. So we got to find Mark Begley a Bob's Big Boy, so he can have one in his front yard.
Those are pretty easy to get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they make repops of them.
I'm looking now.
I've got a lot of space in my backyard, actually. I
You have that-
I watched the video of you delivering these and your ex's backyard with all the different statues.
So
I
cool.
thought,
Yeah.
oh boy, this gives me an idea.
I could see that stump in your backyard, Mark. I could see a Bob's Big Boy on that stump.
It's there's all kinds of room back there. It's a mess. Anyway.
Yeah. So this is the before image, and this is the after. This is one of the most recent videos on his channel, folks. So definitely go watch it. It's a lot of fun to watch the process. And then the delivery of these too is a lot of fun to see these people get them. But yeah, this is great. These I think would be. I remember these also being on the inside of some of the restaurants that I would see that I go to as a kid, not just in the outside, but on the inside.
Yeah, there wasn't a standard. Like each franchise owner could decide what pieces they wanted to buy and where they could put them and stuff. There's a whole catalog of stuff they could pick from, and so there's not like a standard way to do it.
Do you see?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
I was going to ask if you see a lot of variation in the statues themselves, like
it's
through
subtle.
the
The two mares on the end there are actually totally different sculpts. Doesn't look like it, but if you get close up to it, like the mare on the right, his hat is molded into his head, and the mare on the left, the hat is a separate piece. And it's just subtle. I mean, things I didn't notice, but once I strip it down and really get in there, I'm like, hey, this one has a different flower than this one.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
And then the reason why the two Big Macs are different colors was they originally, in the early 70s, they were the more orange color, but then later on, they got more of the brown color. And the client of the brown one had other pieces that he wanted everything to sort of match with. So that's why he's different.
Makes sense.
Kind of like that one, actually.
Yeah, I didn't like it at first. I like this brown was too brown, but once it's on there, it's like I like how the cheese contrasts with the bun. So
yeah,
neither of them are really bun colored, though. If you think about it.
No, neither one of them are really
Oranges,
bun colored.
yeah, strikes me as unusual in a lot of them.
So Pop Actor is asking, is Birdie hard to get? So Pop Actor must be a fan of Birdie.
Sorry. Now Birdie came out in '79, so there might be like some smaller little inside sculptures, but they didn't do the big Playland stuff with her in it.
Yep. And so the Remco figures, Mark and I went on a Remco figure joyride a few months back, looking these guys up. I discovered the speaking of different slight differences, I discovered that there's two different heads for Officer Big Mac in the Remco line. One's sort of a harder, smaller plastic, and one is the larger, sort of softer plastic like this, which I thought was fascinating. But you showed these pictures of the Remco figures because you wanted to show here's the head you made on the Officer Big Mac. But
Mayor McCheese.
I mean Mayor McCheese, thank you. But the eyes, these are the eyes like the costume, right?
Yeah. And the scale and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, because they actually did use a smaller body in the Remcos.
Yep.
But they had to get it all in the same packaging as the other figures, so they had to shrink it down.
Mhm.
So I didn't like that, so I made a bigger.
That's right. Well, that's what we do, right? Try and make the thing that we saw on TV or we thought it should be. I mean, Masters of the Universe fans have that dilemma with Merman. It's like there's three different designs. You got the card back Merman, the toy Merman, the mini comic, the Filmation Merman, and the mini comic. 4 different versions. So yeah.
Here's to hoping we get that Filmation Merman pretty soon. Yeah.
They're kind of holding off on Merman. We'll talk about that one of these days. I'm wondering about that.
That was also, if you remember, when Funko did those bobbleheads in the 2000s. Every box was the same size, so every character had to fit that box, and that really, I think, ruined a lot of the look of them.
Yeah,
like Quisp just didn't look like Quisp because his head was the same size as his body, and just
I was looking I love Quisp. Quisp is one of my favorites. So I was looking him up as the Funko Pop, and I just like I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah.
So Damon's bringing up the fact that Ronald's head tilt is a bit scary, but in a good way. Look, I gotta say, I don't like clowns, and this Ronald is probably the scariest, the scariest Pennywise I've ever seen.
It's not good.
Right.
It's not a good figure.
I gave Mark a tattered one. So
I'm glad, that sounds even worse.
It is. Apologies, Mark.
My Officer Big Mac keeps flying over, so none of them are standing right now.
Oh.
Here's my creepy Ronald.
Yeah.
Oh man, do we really need to flash it? Oh,
so good. Oh man.
Hiya, Georgie.
So the eyes are a little clear, half bubbles on this. How did you manage that?
Yeah, I vacuum formed little domes for his
that's
eyes.
Cool.
That's awesome.
And then I put a little marble in there, so it, whatever, like the commercial, they had
rolled around.
marble.
Yeah.
Oh, that's even better. That's
so good.
That's a phenomenal detail to include.
Yep.
Yeah. And each eye is slightly different size from themselves.
So good. The attention to detail here is amazing. And those are your sculptures next to the Remco Ronald.
Yep. So they are to scale with Ronald and with Mego figures. That was why I picked that size. I wanted to be to scale to Mego.
Yeah.
But then I realized, hey, it's the same size as Remco. So
yeah.
So my plan is to do the entire playland, and then you can have little Remco or Mego figures in there.
I saw on your Instagram you were designing a McDonald's restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the images that I saw online? I couldn't tell if it was 3D rendering or if it was okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That to be to scale with this, it's going to be about 4 feet long.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be a facade, so it'll just be the facade of the front, and then I'll do the fenced-in play yard in front of it.
Yeah. All these fans of Thundercats right now freaking out over the giant Thundercats Cat's Lair playset from Super 7, and I'm thinking I want the restaurant facade from DUSTINCROPSBOY.
Screw Thundercats.
Screw Thundercats.
Go talk to Super 7. Maybe they'll put it in a 7-inch scale form, so it'll still be smaller than the Cat's Lair, but it'll still be massive.
We want it to come from Dallas. We don't want it to come from Super 7.
That's true. I'd rather give my money to Dallas than Super 7 any day. I'm not saying I don't appreciate what they're doing, folks. I thank Super 7 for that goodness, but
yeah. I'm happy they're giving us some Sesame Street figures. That's a whole other conversation.
We'll talk about that soon.
This is the Officer Big Mac. in your hand so you can see what
Scale.
Yeah, scale.
It's a Big Mac. You're supposed to hold it with both hands.
Yeah, it's about the same size as a Big Mac, like the one you get from the restaurant.
Yeah.
Height-wise, I'm sure. I remember Big Macs being a little bit wider. It's been quite a few years since I've had one, but
I got one when those plant cactus plant
Cactus.
flea market,
Yeah.
blow mold adult Happy Meal figures. They weren't blow mold, but they sure felt like it. I tried a Big Mac because I was trying to get those figures.
Don't say anything negative about the Big Mac right now.
Well, I'm not
please.
going to say anything negative. It was definitely smaller than I remembered it.
Well,
it's because
you
you
were also smaller.
I was. That's right.
We grew. The food, the product did not. So.
Yeah, this is gonna be great, and I know you're probably gonna put springs underneath so you can wobble.
You can see there's little red springs under there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see them. That's great.
That's phenomenal work.
I got these springs. I think they're from like a 3D printer or something like that. So they have more of like a flat sort of toy look, like a park look to them instead of just like a hardware store spring. So
yeah.
Nice.
Very cool. I love it. Ronald's going to bonk his head every time that thing moves.
That was the idea, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, man. I love this. Grimace is one of my favorites. Will always be one of my favorites. Grimace and the Hamburglar. But, man, these are great.
I'm most anxious to do the Big Mac jail. I just haven't figured it out yet.
So
there's little things on there that are tricky.
Yeah, I can imagine. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at stuff that I do on my channel, but I've been making these large scale play sets for Masters of the Universe figures based on the cartoon and also previous designs and combining designs and stuff out of like styrofoam and plaster and all that stuff. And the jail, the Officer Big Mac jail is one of the next things I want to make. Keep going over. I want to make it to scale for action figures. And I keep running into these issues, and it's just such a simple design, but it's certainly more complicated, especially with the interior space.
The bars are what it's holding me up, because it's not just two straight bars; it's a bar with a crossbar in between it, and I just can't figure out what to do for that yet.
If for what you do, I mean, because of the attention to detail and the way that you make the things that you make, I could see why that would drive you crazy. Me, I would just try and fashion some dowels and bind them and get rid of the seams and then paint them with chrome paint or whatever. But I know what you're going to do with that is going to really make it look like you're in that space. Yeah, that's cool. I can't wait to see what you do with that.
Me either. That's the one piece I think is gonna be the big hit.
Yeah,
I mean, they've all been very successful, but I think that's kind of the most iconic. Of all the pieces. So we'll see. But then again, there's seeds on it.
Yeah, there's more seeds to paint.
Have you restored one of the jails?
No. I have access to 3 of them that do need a little restoration, but later date. They're hard to take apart, and they're extremely heavy.
Yeah.
So
I'm looking at it online right now, and I was just wondering if it was fiberglass and stuff too, other than the metal bars. But
fiberglass and then a metal tube.
Yeah,
it's really dangerous.
Yeah, and then also the way the bars are attached, you can't just unscrew them because the bolt is inside the head, and I think they put the bars together and then popped the head on and glued it. So it's a tricky thing to try to get apart.
There was a little ladder on the inside,
Yep.
and I can't remember. I can't visualize it because I think they took it away after a while. But you used to be able to put your head up into the
Yep.
hat.
Yeah, and they had holes cut out in the hat you could stick your head through, but then they made a cap that went on top of it and completely covered those holes.
Yeah. Kids probably got their heads caught in there.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah. Jeez. Oh man, the danger of that playground was so. It was, you know, I never. As kids, we never thought about it, but it was
so
fun.
many things we played on was very inherently dangerous.
Yeah,
and it's almost like people just didn't really care so much. But you know, we all survived somehow.
Yeah. So Dallas, are you thinking eventually build it like your ex, as you mentioned in your video and tonight, your ex has a pretty spectacular backyard with all those pieces on display. Are you ever thinking about doing the same thing with property of your own, recreating a McDonaldland playground?
No, I don't have a yard. I live in a warehouse, so
there you go. Inside the warehouse. Come on.
All right.
Yeah.
So
no, and I had those 5 pieces in here. I could not move around at all. So
oh yeah.
Happy to get rid of those.
Yeah.
Now, with pulling this picture up here, I'm noticing that, and maybe you could help with this, Dallas. Some of these look like, well, many of the portions look like maybe they've been repaired. Like they were broken or repaired, because you notice like some of the cross beams.
Every other one was up or down.
Right, but this one looks like it's 2 bars with a welded bar.
That one's repaired.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned like every other one, because it looks like absolutely every other one of these has been replaced.
Yeah.
But then you see like this one looks more like the original. Like this is what I remember. It was like a bar that fit and sit inside the other 2 bars, not the welded piece. But
right.
There it is, Skelly. You can see
it. That's a gorgeous piece. It would be really cool to see what Dallas does with it.
And there's 2 versions of the bars too. That's the long one, and then there's a shorter version.
Right.
So
well, phenomenal.
Things I didn't know that I needed to know, but now I know.
Right.
Will the Grimace bounce thing have the arms around the side as well?
The second set of arms?
Yeah.
He has the arms, built in here, but they're...
Oh,
No, there's only record of 1 or 2 of the forearm version, but that was only for like a year. So no one has found the one with the second set of arms. And for those who don't know, Grimace originally had 4 arms.
4
arms.
Yeah. My preferred version.
Yes. And that only lasted for a year or 2.
Yep. So cool. So what else is coming up for you? Anything that you're looking to try to do besides the Officer Big Mac?
I'm working on a car.
Oh yeah,
nice.
That will be radio controlled.
Oh my God, fantastic.
So this is the original car.
Yep.
There you go. There we go. Perfect.
SugarFrosted.
These cars had me thinking dogs could drive.
And then for the remote, this is the remote that I just bought like a bunch of radio controlled cars and gutted them for the parts. But this is the remote that came with it.
Yes.
Not good. I'm gonna do a remote like that.
Yes.
So you'll turn it like that and steer it.
That's fantastic. That looks like the Fisher Price radio, right?
That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I redesigned that to have the thing be the wheel, and then another switch for the acceleration, I guess.
That's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
And how
So
about
this is a little different than the bank. It's the same size as the bank, but I did it in separate pieces.
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
And then I was able to get the perfect like semi-transparent redness to his collar. That was a little tricky. There you go.
Beautiful.
Damon is all about it. He says he's throwing his wallet at the screen.
Yeah, you can if we go to your website, SugarFrosted.biz, you can sign up to be notified, right?
Yeah, if you go there and then you click on the store button, that'll bring you to my other site, and then you can click on any pieces, and it'll say notify me when available.
Yeah.
So I do the McDonald's in runs of 12, just so I don't get overwhelmed, because there's nothing worse than being weeks and weeks out and people getting upset that their stuff's not shipping. So I like to be able to handle it. So
yeah, that's a good approach. I know people do get upset. It's true. People get impatient, but it's these are hand painted works of art.
Yeah,
we can, and a lot of these folks probably have some experience waiting on collectible items to be released.
Right.
So yeah, it's too bad people get so impatient, especially when it comes to art like this.
Oh, there's just so many scammers out there too that you just
That's
have to
true.
worry.
That's true.
But if I say I'm going to do it, I will do it. So I don't put anything up until I have a working prototype and I know everything's going to work. So like for the Grimace, I finally got those bars bent, because that was the holdup. Like, how am I going to get these bars to work?
Yeah.
So once I got those, then I posted. When I do a new item, I'll do like a pre-sale where the first 12 people will get, I don't know, $25, $29 off the price.
Right.
And that just helps me fund to get the rest of the material I need.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, I did see you posted a deal for the Grimace, right? You first people
Yeah, they're normally $179, but I did the first 12, get it for $150.
So you
and they sold out within like an hour.
Yeah. That's what. So you got to get out there and order your Grimaces, folks.
While you're buying the Grimace, don't forget to stop by Mortarhead's and buy the vegan nightmare mask that he has up too.
That's right. That's right.
You have to order all McDonald's paraphernalia while wearing the vegan nightmare. It's kind of a little rule.
Have you seen that, Dallas? The vegan nightmare mask? It's so cool.
Oh my god, it's one of the most gorgeous things ever. Hang on, I'll bring it up.
I'm gonna find it.
You know I will.
I ordered a Mortarhead's t-shirt from him, and it's the McDonald's, the Golden arches, but it says Mortarhead's in the McDonald's font, which is great. But yeah, he's doing good stuff too.
The recent burgers, the hard foam burgers that you got that you mentioned that you're going to be casting, what are your plans for those casts?
Sell them.
Okay. I'm happy to hear that.
Easy. So they'll be the original scale.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I do. So cool.
I do have,
because I like me a little burger.
Yep.
I did make ones to scale with the statues I'm doing. So I'm planning on doing a whole burger patch of these.
That's so up my alley.
Yeah.
And this is the perfect time to share this because it's almost like an identical replica here.
Yeah, but you can wear it on your head.
You can wear it on your head. And love the recreation of the McDonald's logo, but saying Mortarheads as well. Fantastic. Oh no!
I fell off my mouth.
You all right?
Yeah.
No, I was just about to say, I think people like Mark and I would like if you made it an option to buy just like a handful of burgers.
Yeah, I'd
That's
put it
like
with this little pink guy.
see Mark is buying all those burgers. I think people might be
Little
interested
vinyl
in that.
ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
So are you planning to sell them in like a set of 5 or something
Yeah.
like that?
I'm gonna grab the prototype.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
You
Don't
gotta
fall again.
buy a whole bunch of those and put them all over your toy collection. Just hide the hamburgers all throughout.
Yes, exactly.
It'd be perfect.
So here's the prototype I have so far.
Oh, so
Oh,
that's what we're
yes.
gonna get. Yes.
That is perfect. Like straight from
Oh,
Playland.
I see.
Yeah. So
Now
I'm
you
just
can-
trying to figure out like how to do these leaves and stuff, and then how
All right.
to how
Toy
to paint all
photographer
those.
friends. We need to see these in some of your shots
That's
in the
right.
background.
Yeah, that's gonna be spectacular.
So they're to scale.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
I love that so much. Oh, that's good stuff.
One thing at a time, though.
One thing at a
Right.
time. Any other any other franchises or IPs that you're interested in jumping into in the future?
I don't know. I personally like Burger King better.
Oh yeah.
I like I did design a Wizard of Fries. that I wanted to
Oh,
print
Oh,
that
neat.
I think like 2 people in the world even know who that is. So
that's awesome.
I don't know if you remember the Burger King campaign from the late 70s. Wizard of
I
Fries and Duke of Doubt and Sir Shakes a lot.
I remember those. I remember those. I can't pull up an image in my brain, but I remember those names.
It's where the original Burger King kind of came from.
Mhm.
But most, again, my age range, most of us don't remember the Burger King until he was all creepy and popping up in your bed with a Whopper in a
Yeah.
commercial. But before that, they had, that whole campaign where it was trying to match the McDonald's Playland.
Yep. They did design a whole playland and everything too that never made it past
Oh,
concept stage, but I have pictures of it, of what they were attempting to do. So, actually, I never went to McDonald's as a kid. So
Really?
I've only seen a playland once in passing as a kid.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
So that is actually proof that it doesn't have to be. You don't have to have a nostalgic attachment to it in
Yeah.
order to appreciate the artistry of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I didn't grow up with Twiggy, but I love Twiggy. I mean,
Yeah.
she was around 5 years before I was born, but so, yeah, I was talking to someone about this the other day. Like, I don't have nostalgia in my head. Like, I don't see something go, oh my God, I remember that.
Mhm.
Because I've been dealing with the stuff for 35 years. So it never left my conscience, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't have any nostalgic feeling for stuff. It's just there.
Yeah.
I have a nostalgic feeling for water,
Yeah. That is
I remember water as a kid. Like,
yeah, I
you
love
have water every
water.
day. So
I can every time I smell water, it takes me back to water.
yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. That's an interesting dialogue to have about what does nostalgia even mean?
Right.
Is it the longing for something? Is that where it comes from?
Memories, past memories, past joys.
Distance, or what?
I
So,
don't
like,
I mean, I didn't have a bad childhood, but it wasn't that exciting. So I don't have like, oh my God, I remember this. That was the day that I did this. I don't remember birthdays. I don't remember anything. All my memories from my past are of minutia and little details of
yeah.
like, I remember how the copyright on the bottom of a Playmobil figure looked in 1977. Like, I don't remember playing with them. I don't remember anything about them. I remember how it was written on the bottom. Like that. That's my memories.
Yeah, you remember the experience of looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just observing and just, yeah.
That's cool. We can all identify with that for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, I just stumbled across a website. It's like warehouse or something. 5shoppyspace.com. I don't know. I was just looking around at like some old McDonald's playground equipment stuff. And like this website, it has everything listed at 54 or 5388. So I'm sure it's totally legit. But I think they just collected a whole bunch of random pictures across the internet of old McDonald's playground equipment. And they're trying to say that you could buy it for 54.88 or 53.88.
Is that Temu?
No, this isn't on Temu. It's
because that happened to my friend Tom Spina. I don't know. Someone has one of those sites has their Emperor chairs that are like $1,300, but it's like $54. Like on this website.
That's exactly what I'm looking at, and I'm guaranteeing this is a scam. But
you order it and you get like toothbrushes in the mail or something,
right?
You get the picture that they post.
Yeah, exactly.
I just picked it, I went to it because I was like looking at a whole bunch of, the pictures and stuff like that. And they had one of the grimaces with the actual arms wrapped around it still. And God, it's neat. But one thing I never remember seeing was the Hamburglar swing.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is terrifying looking.
I have one right in front of me, ready to be restored. So.
Oh, amazing! Yeah. Now, just so you know, after tonight, I'm going to be looking up those Burger King characters and their playset design or playground design that never came to fruition.
I'll send you that because I don't know if that ever got posted.
Oh yeah.
They're horrible. That's why I love them because
I
always like what other people don't.
I'm the same way. I mean, I love. That's part of the reason why I'm a huge fan of Masters of the Universe. Is there are some wonky things that happen in the manufacturing of those figures that is just the best way to describe it is ugly. But I know for most people watching, I'm preaching to the choir, but there's some weird stuff in there that wouldn't fly by today's standards of what people might consider something that a kid might want.
Right.
Yeah.
That is one of the best parts of the Masters of the Universe is just that kookiness of all the different characters. And that's definitely what I like about most things is when they're all like kind of kooky, weird, and a little offbeat from, what you would think everybody would normally be into. And it's funny because Masters of the Universe, even with all of that, was really
extraordinarily.
Go ahead, Skelly.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. It was just it was successful.
Right.
That's perplexing.
Right.
Yeah.
It took all that weirdness and somehow managed to become so mainstream and cultural at the time.
Yeah, like McDonald's, those McDonaldland characters, they're part of our consciousness, but there's something just super weird about it.
Right? Like what? It started in 1971, and definitely by the time I was a little kid through most of the 80s, not many of them still had it. I think we had like one or two in our area that still had. They didn't have the outdoor area as much as they had like this indoor back room that still had some of it.
Party room.
Which is why I don't remember the Hamburglar swing because it wasn't outside. Right. But the tree and the little burger booths and everything like that. Like I totally remember all that. And I'm pretty sure I vaguely remember somewhere having the Big Mac jail now that I've looked it up and seen it. But yeah, like the overall outside equipment stuff, it didn't have a lot of that anymore.
Yeah. I looked at a catalog from 81 from the company that makes those, and it showed every state and how many were in each state. And I grew up in Minnesota. So in 1981, there were only 4 playlands.
Oh, wow.
So I know of 3. I don't know where the 4th one is. And then I'm in South Dakota now, and they had none in 81. So everyone around here, like, they kind of know the characters. They don't really relate to them, I guess. So
that's interesting.
Being on the East Coast in Maryland, like, you know, we pretty much had a McDonald's on every corner.
Right.
You know, and it's still pretty much like that. A lot of them have closed down at this point. There's not as many as there used to be. As a matter of fact, the one that still had like the big party room that I remember, that one's gone now. Like, like that one didn't survive. Whereas many of the other ones still have. Of course, then like you had the ones that came through the 90s and had like the space shuttle looking areas that kids could crawl through and all.
Yeah.
But see, to me, that was never as weird or kooky as the McDonald's Playland stuff.
Right.
That just made it so much more fun.
So you're younger than me, but do you remember Cosmo, the character Mick Cosmo or something?
Yeah,
they're bringing him back.
They are. We talked about that in the last.
Recently.
We talked about that in the
I have
last.
no idea. I've seen it, but I have no idea what it is. Like, is that 90s or?
Yeah, it was like 90s. He was like a gloopy alien in a astronaut suit with 4 arms.
Right.
I never hear anybody talk about him, but why are they
bringing him back? I mean,
maybe because we just found out like the government has hid aliens supposedly. Like they've just admitted, oh yeah, aliens, they totally exist. Now moving along to more current affairs. So or maybe that's why
they had a huge success with the Grimace birthday thing, but they don't they can't do the Big Mac or Mayor anymore. So I guess
right. Yeah, trying to bring back something
that's
else.
All they can
instead.
do that's their only original character that they can bring.
It's really too bad that they can't bring those characters back. But
I know.
Yeah, I think I do believe that that's right. They're probably just, riding the coattails of, UFOs and UAPs are like, every time I open up the news, they pop up. So it's on everybody's consciousness right now. So they're like, yeah, let's throw in some aliens. That Cosmo, I guess has his name Cosmo character. He was after my time, so I never really understood. I don't really have a connection to him, but he doesn't have doesn't carry the same resonance as the other characters. But
yeah, I've seen that recently popping up. I don't remember him as much, but again, that would tie in with that whole space shuttle thing that kind of like took over the whole play area thing. Like, maybe that was their thing. I'm not sure.
So they're counting on 90s kids nostalgia, but I don't know anybody that remembers him. So I don't think this is gonna.
I don't think it's gonna work either.
No, they need to stick with our age range.
They're according to something that I read. I don't remember where I read it, but it said something about them designing a few select McDonald's to look like futuristic.
Yeah.
So
I'd rather them go back instead of go futuristic, because I don't know, like this whole modern day look that a lot of McDonald's have just recently remodeled to, just
a McBox.
Yeah, you walk in and it feels uncomfortable and unwelcome. Not that I really want to spend a whole lot of time in a McDonald's anyway. Like I was saying before, like I really don't care for McDonald's much anymore. I enjoy my memories that I have there as a kid, but like current day food, I still love their breakfast food. I will give them that. McDonald's has the best fast food breakfast out there, in my opinion.
It's true. Like when I was looking for the Cactus Plant Flea Market figures and the adult Happy Meals, I went into a couple of those box McDonald's, and they're designed so that you don't stay.
Right. Yeah, they're very unwelcoming. And
I guess that's probably fine, but it's a little weird. It's strange.
I mean, who eats inside of a McDonald's in 2023, though?
Right? That's why they got the drive-through.
Yeah, I guess who eats in... Yeah,
I haven't eaten inside of a fast food restaurant in decades.
Mr. Wonderful is saying we shouldn't be eating at McDonald's anyways.
Yeah, that's right.
I like it as a treat.
Yeah.
I'd love to go and say I can get some ice cream or a milkshake, but it's always broken.
that is a dilemma for sure. I love their soft serve.
So Dallas, you mentioned that they wouldn't be doing or can't do Mayor McCheese or Officer Big Mac. What's the reason for that?
Sid and Marty Krofft.
Oh, there it still goes back to that. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, that's
but they did manage to hold on to him up into mid 80s, I think.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I don't know if it was lawsuit was pending that long and took them that long to finally settle or what. But there you go.
Yeah,
I mean, I definitely remember still seeing those characters around in like commercials and marketing, at least through the 80s, going into the 90s. I remember it, and then I remember they cut back a lot.
Yeah,
like
I think
all
Mayor
of a sudden
McCheese lasted longer than Big Mac, which is weird because I thought Mayor was the problem.
Right.
But the Mayor McCheese, I guess, shows up in one of those 90s Ronald McDonald Fun Time video things.
Right.
That are they're animated like
yeah,
the Wild Thornberries.
Yeah. And
yeah.
well, I still remember a lot of, the Fry guys being around and Birdie and Grimace and the Hamburglar, but not that old retro Hamburglar, the more modern, goofy looking one. Like I still remember them being in a lot of stuff, at least through the mid 90s.
Yeah.
And I always thought they were fun, interesting characters, but then it was like, then out of nowhere, just all of it was gone. Ronald was around. Apparently this Cosmo guy was around, but I don't even remember him that much.
Oh man.
Yeah. It just seemed like there was this mass extinction of mascots in the 90s.
I think it also had to do with Super Size Me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that had a lot to do with it.
If I was a cartoonist for the New Yorker, I would draw the guy from Super Size Me, sort of picking off the mascots from a tower with a rifle,
taking you out one at a time.
And rightly so, I suppose, because this channel is called Toy Frenzy, and toys are corporations trying to get kids to spend their parents' money.
Yep.
And same thing with fast food for such a long time. But gosh darn it, the design aspect and the art aspect of these things they're just so cool. I mean,
you can separate the two. I think.
I think so.
As an adult, we can definitely separate
that.
But as a kid, like they were talking to psychologists about the best ways to be able to market and how to figure it out. Like they literally went to psychologists to figure out how to get us to want this product, and that's what they base their marketing campaigns off of.
Like every cereal box, the characters are looking down so that a kid in the cart will see it, making eye contact with it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And that was that was the mass extinction of mascots, because things like Cookie Crisp, where you used to have the criminals and the sheriff and everything like that, and then slowly that whole dynamic died off until it was just this wolf that nobody even remembered.
Right.
Like, where did this guy come from? And
this is why I absolutely hate the 90s, because actually anything past 85, I think 85 is the year everything just started going downhill for me.
A lot of it has to deal with laws that put into place about how they marketed to kids after that.
Yeah. So I don't really anything past 85. I don't even acknowledge. I don't know what that is.
One thing that hasn't changed is Quisp. Quisp has not changed.
Right. Yeah, he's never changed his look ever.
You can buy
he
it
never
off
got the airbrush. He never got anything.
Exactly. You can't find them in stores, but you can. I just checked it out. You can find them on Amazon.
I used to sell them in my store in Minneapolis. I had a big display rack of them.
Oh, so cool. Yeah, and I love it when there are things that just don't go away, and thank goodness for them. Well, guys, Dallas, thank you so much for doing this tonight, and we really appreciate you talking about your craft with us, and hopefully more people that watch tonight will be checking out your website, and also check out DustinCropsBoy and SugarFrosted on Instagram as well. And they can find you on Facebook too, which I just discovered this week.
Everything is DustinCropsBoy. YouTube Dustin Crops, Facebook Dustin Crops, Instagram.
Yeah. And the YouTube channel is so much fun. I'm telling you, I had an accident in February, and it wasn't a serious thing, but you carried me through that. Like I was watching your channel and getting a lot of joy from watching your stuff. So thank you for that.
It'll be better soon.
It made me feel better. It did. And I was texting with Mark. We were like texting about all this stuff together, and yeah, it was good. So Mark, Oz, anything coming up for you guys?
Mark, you go ahead first.
Nothing coming up. You can listen to past episodes of Cambridge and with Shawn or Wake Up Heavy over at weirdingwaymedia.com.
That's right. And a new episode of Wake Up Heavy just launched, and a new episode of Cambridge and with Shawn just launched.
Yeah, this week.
Yeah, this week.
Tuesday and Wednesday of this week.
That's right. I
available.
Just finished listening to the newest Wake Up Heavy episode, and it is epic. You guys watched a lot of movies, and it's great. You're catching up on a lot of movies.
Time. Yeah. That covered a long time.
Yeah, but that was fun. That was good. It made me want to watch Game Night. I've never seen Game Night.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so I'm going to be watching that. How about you, Oz?
Well, I'm popping up all over YouTube. This weekend, I accidentally slept through my normal time because I just crashed after a very hot Saturday running around with Connor. We were out walking. We got some Rita's Italian Ice, and then we went over and grabbed some squirt guns from Walgreens, and I bought a big water bottle. And then we ran all the way home squirting one another. So
that's awesome.
Later when he got picked up, I just ended up passing out. So apologize, everybody, for no show this past weekend. However, this upcoming Saturday, of course, we'll be doing an episode, hanging out, talking about anything. And then you can catch me this upcoming Sunday. I will definitely be on TKO for his usual time slot here in the afternoon, but morning for you guys out there on the West Coast, bright and early at around 9:30. And then who knows where else I'll pop up. I know I've been hanging out with Mega J a bit. And for those of you who are heading to PowerCon, you will definitely be able to see me there next week. I'm going to try to be able to be here for Toy Frenzy next Thursday night. Going to try to figure out some way to do the whole thing. Who knows? You may even have a second special guest besides just me popping up on Toy Frenzy next Thursday night. You'll never know who's going to be hanging around when we're all out in Columbus, Ohio. So we'll be doing various live spots, as well as I'll be trying to record the whole journey to share with everybody here on the channel. I know I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people, such as Mr. Wonderful Travis himself. He'll be out there repping the Hexastacks. Guys from Hella Dope Toys will be there as well. Going to finally meet Adam, Battle Ram Blog, as well as meeting Mega J in person as well. And then just so kindly recently, John from Emerald Knife Photos has offered to be my camera guy while they're here. Cool. There's going to be a couple episodes of really good cinematography and photo shots. And then after that, it'll go back to your regularly scheduled crap camera on my laptop.
That's all right. That'll be fun. I'm excited about you going to PowerCon and representing the Frenzy and talking to all those folks. That'll be a lot of fun.
That's right. If you see me there, don't be afraid to approach. Step on up. Come hang out with me. I'll be passing out Toy Frenzy stickers to everybody. So you're definitely going to want to catch up. And I'm just going to have a blast.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. We're all looking forward to that, Oz. For me, definitely go check out the newest episode of Cambridge and with Shawn, where Mark and I are talking about our obsessions with surf and skate culture. It's a good one. They're all great, but I had a lot of fun talking with Mark about that stuff. And also I realized in listening back to it, you could basically create an audio playlist for yourself while watching it, and you can pause it and go and listen to things and rewatch Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So yeah, go listen to that episode. nothing else really coming up. I'm really just excited to see what happens with next week's Toy Frenzy and talk to Oz about PowerCon, and then the follow-up episode 2 where we go through what Oz saw over there. Folks, do the YouTube thing, click like and subscribe, all that stuff. If you're interested in becoming a patron of any of our channels, that information is down below. Also, Dallas's information for DUSTINCROPSBOY is down below too. And you'll be able to find Mark's information down there too, as soon as I post his Patreon down there as well. But folks, thanks so much for watching tonight. If you're wondering, I'm at a hotel. I was so worried tonight about the Wi-Fi, but it really worked out fine, I think. So just want to thank everybody in the chat for being here. And Dallas, man, thank you so much for doing this. I've been wanting to talk to you about your craft for a long time, and I know everybody here has been anxious to talk to you. So thanks for being here.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Right. So I wanted to address this real quick here, but no, I'm sorry. Did you have something else? I'm sorry, I kind of cut that off there.
Oh no. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, no, just to address this, I know he's asking if